Good morning. Speaking, coaching, and consulting is a super rigorous career. Speaking, coaching, consulting, if that's something that you want to do, if you're currently doing it, if you aspire to do it at a very high level, meaning you want to make it your main source of income, you wanted to make it your main source of service in the world, then this episode is for you. This is my story. This episode is going to be a bit of an autobiography. In this episode, I want to share with you that whatever you're thinking about what it takes to have a successful personal brand, whatever you're thinking about what it takes to have a successful speaking career, whatever you're thinking about what it takes to have a successful coaching and consulting company, you're probably wrong. So I want to correct some things for you, but I'm going to do it through my own personal autobiography. So, good morning. Welcome back to the live recording of the Plant Protocol podcast. I am Lisa A. Smith, plant based health and business coach, specifically to speakers, coaches, and consultants who want to optimize their health to take their career to the next level. This is what I do. This is the Plant Protocol podcast, also known as our Monday morning keynote. And today I'm going to share with you how I have been able to go from overweight, overworked, underpaid to a successful, sought after speaker, coach, and consultant, and a body that I love and that I am proud of. And I am not stressed out, overstretched, or feeling unfulfilled. So I get to fill up my personal need for service and purpose while serving and pouring into other people. And so I think this episode is going to be for you if you are someone who is currently acting as a speaker, a coach, or consulting, or you aspire to, and you're looking to know what it all takes to actually reach the level that you can sustain a career and a quality of life that you desire. Okay, so we're going to get into that today. Let me tell you the motivation and the catalyst for this episode today, guys. So I had a revelation just a couple days ago as I was thinking about my history in coaching. And when I say my history in coaching, I mean myself as a client, not myself as a coach. So I've had coaches for the past several years. Like I've invested a lot of money in coaching, like well over $100,000 in coaching, probably closer to 200,000 actually. So I've invested a lot of money in coaching over the years. And I just had a revelation recently, which is I was thinking about all of the coaches that I've had and specifically in the past 5 years, right? Since like 2020. And I was kind of drawing threads and through lines to their commonalities. And I realized in the last 5 years, all of the coaches I've had have battled their own personal health issues. Now, they all have a lot of great things in common. They're all really successful in their specific niches. They're all they all run 7-figure companies. They're all really they've done a great job of developing a personal brand, so they have name recognition around their personal person and their companies. They all have really established themselves as credible and subject matter experts in their field, but they also have something else in common. They all have battled health challenges, whether it be physical, mental, or emotional. And I've witnessed it personally, right? So all of my coaches that I've personally had in the last several years, and for me, this has all been business and personal development coaches. They all have health challenges, and they speak and they teach and they coach and they have personal brands, but they also have health challenges that they've been pretty public and transparent about. Like it's not a secret, right? And as I was thinking about this, I was thinking about the exceptional need for people who want to have a public brand and who want to speak and who want to teach and who want to coach, the exceptional need for them to prioritize their health first. Now, what happens is because in our culture, entrepreneurship is glorified and having a public persona is glorified. What a lot of people mistakenly do is they put all of their energy into the brand, into the company, into the work, as opposed to putting all that energy into themselves first. And so they look up and they haven't quite developed the habits that they need to develop and the discipline that's required to maintain an optimal level of health. So I want to address that today. And I'm going to run through and tell you guys 6 things that I did to arrive to where I am today, right? Down over 60 plus pounds, confident in my body, confident in my ideas, mastery in my field, running a successful coaching and consulting company, and helping others to starting to do the same, right? And so I want to take you through kind of my autobiography and break this down for you today. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Perfect in Your Skin 771 on Instagram. Hello, Angel, Stacy, and Robin. Welcome in, y'all. I got my tea today, and I'm going to break this down for you. Today is just my autobiography, live in audio. Okay. And many of you video as well. But for people who listen to it on a replay on the podcast, this is my autobiography. I want to tell you how I went from kind of overweight and overworked and underpaid to where I am today. Extremely happy in a career and a body, right? And a mindset that I'm proud of because I worked to get here, and I want to share this. And so what I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to tell you I'm going to chronicle my story to how I got to where I am today. I'm going to do it, like I mentioned, chronologically, but as I go through each thing that I did, I'm going to tell you why I worked on it. What's the significance of it? So that's my plan today. Good morning, Ujo. What's up, Rhonda? Hey, y'all, come on in. That was too hot to sip. Okay, as my tongue burns, let's get into it. So, I'm going to tell you the first thing I did. So, I started my company in 2015. So we are 10 years old this year. And in the past 10 years, I've coached hundreds of people, thousands of people came through our ecosystem, our classes, our programs, all of our experiences. So I have been doing this for a very long time. And suffice it to say, it's been an evolution, right? And one of the things that a lot of people know to be true about entrepreneurship and about business is that it takes hard work and it takes long hours. And that's all very true. But one thing we also know about entrepreneurship is that a lot of people, they arrive to a level of success that they're proud of, but they arrive at that success sometimes broken, sometimes overweight. Relationships have been sacrificed. Health has been sacrificed, right? Maybe their faith and their personal development has been sacrificed. And so one of the things I want to teach you is how I did it without sacrificing those things. Good morning, Dr. Brock. One of the things I want to do is teach you how I've done that without sacrificing. So here's the belief that I need you to now embrace and hold in your spirit as we move forward today. Success does not require you to sacrifice your health, physical, mental, or emotional, or your relationships, or your well-being. So the thing that I want to prove to you as I articulate and autobiograph my journey today is that success does not require all the sacrifices that we've heard and seen. So one of the things that I will say one of the things that has been really hurtful for me to watch, a lot of, especially my coaches, experience is just that. And one of the things is sacrificing, oh, now I got this level of success. I've earned this money. I have this company. I have, this personal brand. I'm in demand. But then privately, their relationships with their family and friends are broken. Right. Privately, their physical health is breaking down. Privately, they still have things that they emotionally have not healed from. I've watched this happen over and over again with personal coaches that I've hired. I've watched one of my coaches have literally an emotional breakdown on stage, lost it. Right. I've watched how health, when it's neglected, comes back and compromises everything you've built. And so one of the things I need you guys to understand, if you have a desire to have a personal brand, a public brand, have a personal career that requires you to be in front of people as a speaker, as a teacher, as a coach, as a consultant, I need you to listen very closely to my story today, because if you do this thing in the wrong order, you run the risk of losing everything you worked so hard to build because you did things out of order. There's an order of operations. Math was my favorite class in school, in high school, in college. I love math because there's an order of operations. Like you can only get to the answer one way. Like you have to, multiply before you add. You have to divide before you subtract. Like there's an order of operations. And this goes the same for having a successful speaking and coaching career. There's an order of operations. So let me tell you mine. Over 10 years ago, I was overweight, about 65 pounds overweight. And my journey into this career, into entrepreneurship full time, started with weight loss. So I'm going to break down these 6 things for you. The first one is I lost weight. So how did I go from being broken, unknown, overweight, unsure of what my purpose was to where I am today? Successful coach, speaker, consultant, with a multi-6-figure company who has recently, just in the last couple of months, signed a partnership deal with one of the top personal development companies in the industry. The first thing I did, y'all, was lose weight. How did I do it? I hired a trainer and I adopted a plant-based diet. And I'm going to tell you how I did it. Now, this is my how. Now, you guys, you make a decision what steps you're going to follow or whether or not you're going to take this in. But I'm telling you right now, there's an order of operations. Somebody put that in the chat. There's an order of operations. A lot of times we try and work on stuff in the wrong order. And the stuff we neglected that we should have worked on first comes back to potentially destroy everything we've built. So this order of operations goes like this. Step 1, get your physical body together. Let me tell you why. If you desire to have a career that requires you to be in service to people and in front of people on a regular basis, the very first thing you need to be exceptional is the complete absence of any insecurity or self-consciousness. There's an order of operations. In my business accelerator, where we help individuals to start or grow their coaching company, one of the things I've had plenty of intimate conversations with our clients, right? I started my business accelerator in 2021. So, I've had over the years plenty of intimate conversations with our clients. And I'm going to tell you about one conversation I had with someone. She said, Lisa, I think I have an issue with my memory. She says, I'm learning all of this stuff. I'm learning the science. I'm learning what it means to be a great coach. And she was like, but when it's time for me to get up and get in front of people, I can't seem to recall it. She's like, I know the stuff when I'm not on stage. I know the stuff when I'm not on the mic. I know the stuff in private. But when it's time for me to get in front of people, I can't seem to remember. She said, so I want you to help me with my memory, right? And so I started asking questions as a good coach does, right? So I started probing and I'm probing, right? And eventually she revealed to me that part of the reason she could not recall information when she was on stage and in front of people is because one part of her mind was consumed with how she looked. She admitted to me that while she had lost a lot of weight so far on her journey, she still wanted to lose more weight and she was still self-conscious about how she appeared in front of people. So she had issues with appearance. She had self-consciousness issues. She had some body insecurities, and that impaired her ability to be fully present with her audience when she showed up. And it impaired her ability to recall information that her audience desperately needed for transformation. Listen to me very closely. This is a public profile. If you want to be a speaker, if you want to be a coach, you are required. Like it is going to be you who is in demand. It's not going to be your company. It's not going to be your service. Not yet. In the beginning, you build your brand off of you. So Lisa is in demand. As much as I want Farm to Table to be in demand, as much as I want the Plant Protocol to be in demand, as much as you want just your business to be in demand, if you are signing up to be a coach, a speaker, a consultant, you are building a personal brand. And anything that impairs your ability to be fully present with the people you are in service to is a problem. The first thing I did on my journey to achieve the success we have today is I took care of the things that I was insecure about. For me, it was my weight. So I went out and I got a trainer. And I adopted a plant-based diet and I lost over 60 plus pounds. and it changed the game. There's an order of operations. Insecurities and self-consciousness will compromise your business. And here's the thing. You're working on it and you like to think that no, I'm good. I'm perfectly fine with who I am. But then you get on to record a video and you can't do it because you're like, my light, I don't look good on my chin. Oh, they're going to see my arms. I can't, when I get on stage, how long does it take you to pick an outfit if somebody books you to speak? Like how long, like you need to understand how much your not obsession, but like you being preoccupied with your physical appearance. You need to understand how much time that's taken up and how much energy that's taken away from you being able to pour into the people you need to pour into. So for me, this is my autobiography. For me, the very first thing I did is I lost weight, and I did that with a personal trainer and a plant-based diet. And why did I do that? It's because personal insecurities, I could not allow that to impede my ability to have an impact on the audience. Okay. That's the first thing I did. That's number one. Number two, good morning, y'all. Number two, the second thing I did, I love y'all. Good morning, Susan. She said, elbow on the table with hands holding up my chin, listening to you. Amen. Okay. Here's the second thing I did to be successful. So number one, weight loss. Number two, I healed emotionally. So listen, why did I do this? It is so important. It is so important, guys, that if you have any part of you that's broken, maybe from past experiences, things you haven't quite dealt with, things you haven't quite healed from, it is so important that you put down everything else and heal. First of all, when you are signing up to be a coach, when you are committing to another human, that you're going to show up for them and you're going to help them through a problem or a challenge they're having to improve their quality of life, how dare you not show up as your best self? How dare you be broken and trying to help somebody else? It compromises the integrity of your work if you're not healed as a coach. I'm going to say that again. It compromises the integrity of your work if you are not healed as a coach. Period. So the second thing that I did to establish myself as a successful speaker, coach, and consultant is I went out as soon as brokenness revealed itself. How did my brokenness reveal itself? Some of you guys know my story. I was on campus at Wayne State University in downtown Detroit, Michigan. Listen to Les Brown in my earbuds talk about how he was adopted and how his parents chose him and how grateful he was that his parents chose him. And then I started crying instantly in that moment in the student center on campus at Wayne State University. Tears started streaming down my face because my dad didn't choose me. I didn't even know I was bothered about this until I was triggered by Les. Les triggered the heck out of me that day. And I'm like, man, his parents chose him. I don't feel chosen. Matter of fact, I feel abandoned. Oh, shoot, I need to do something about this. As soon as you get evidence that you are not healed from something, your number one priority should become running to fix it. Because if you are going to take on the responsibility of healing others, if you're going to take on the responsibility of coaching and pouring into other people, how dare you do that at a low vibrational frequency? Brokenness is a low vibrational frequency. We are all nothing but electromagnetic balls of energy walking around. How dare you allow your frequency to be low when you know it's low? So the second thing I did to arrive at the level of success I have today is I healed emotionally from anything that was impeding my ability to think clearly. Because if I had proceeded with my career with abandonment issues, I promise you it was going to show up in a negative way on stage. It was going to show up in a negative way in a coaching session. It was going to show up in a negative way in my role as a leader. What's your issues and what do you need to do to heal? For me, I'm going to tell you the two things I did to heal. Remember, I'm telling you what I did. I'm going to tell you how I did it, and I'm going to tell you why I did it. Okay? Don't make me laugh, y'all, when I'm waxing deep. Perfect in Your Skin said this is better than fried tofu. I can't stand y'all. Okay. And don't make me laugh. It's messing up my flow. Okay. So listen, let me tell you. So I healed. How did I heal? I went to therapy. Okay. I hired a therapy. The second thing I did is I hired a private investigator. Okay. So I got a therapist so we can talk through. I got a therapist so that we could talk through what my issues were around my father leaving, right? The abandonment issues, maybe how that abandonment issues has shown up in other relationships, how it was showing up in my career, how it was showing up in my life, and talking through the things I need to heal from. Then I hired a private investigator to find my father, right? So that I could get some questions answered, right? And then the next thing I did is I attached myself to a possibility model. So my coach, as many of you guys know, my personal coach is Dr. Eric Thomas, right? And the number one motivational speaker, right? And I was at one of his live events several years ago. I think it was in Chicago. I can't remember. I think we were in Chicago or Atlanta. And I'm front row, so I was in VIP right up front. And I remember him saying loudly, boldly, proudly, I'm healed. I said, what? It was like the floor fell out I almost slid out my VIP seat. Okay. He said, I'm healed. I said, what? I ain't never heard. How was that like a tool for business success? He said, you can't touch me because I'm healed. It's like, I was like, oh, it's like a bright light started shining around him. I'm like, what? Give me some of that. What that tastes like? Where they sell that at? Right? I'll never forget. He said, I'm healed. I said, my. And so I continue. So I attached myself to a possibility model. So I got a therapist. I hired a private investigator so I get some answers for the questions that I had about the things that had broken me. And then I attached myself to someone who was healed so I can see what that felt like. Because prior to that moment, I had been attached to unhealed people. Now, this is me realizing this in hindsight. At that point, I didn't know. It wasn't like I was like healed, unhealed, healed, unhealed. I know now, right? Because I can see it, right? I can tell on my team who's unhealed. I can tell in my clients when they unhealed just by the questions they ask. Like I can point it out now, but then I was just getting introduced to this concept. And so I had to attach myself to someone who had done the work and who had arrived at the place. Because there are some people who believe that you go through your whole life and you never heal. I don't believe that. I believe you can heal from things. Some people think you never arrive. I'm like, BS. Yeah, right. I'm not saying that there's not things that can't still break me. I'm still human. I'm still going to experience things in life as I'm living, but there are things that I can heal from and be over. Like you can get over things and through things successfully in a healthy way, right? And so that's what I've done with the abandonment that I was feeling with my father. So that's the second thing that I did to arrive at the level of success that we have today in business is I worked on the things I had to heal from because again, how dare you? How dare you tell another human who's dealing with their own stuff that you're going to help them and you are still broken? How that is out of integrity if I've ever seen it. How dare you not be doing the work? How dare you be running away from how dare you? This is like, you got to take coaching serious. Like these is real people with real lives. And you like your advice is even skewed to people if you're speaking to them from an unhealed place. Now, you don't know this because you might not have the third thing I'm about to talk about, but I promise you, if you haven't done the work to deal with abandonment, loss, grief, sadness, whatever it is, you got to do it. You used to get bullied. You came from extreme poverty, and so you got a lack mindset. You used to get bullied, so you have a people-pleasing mindset. You got abandoned, so you got abandonment issues. Like, what is it? What is it? You got to deal with it before you attach yourself to another human talking about, give me your money and your time, and I'm going to help you. Okay. So the reason I had to get healed is because coaching for me is a career of integrity. And I need to be in high integrity in order to be in service to others. Okay. That's number two. The third thing that I did to reach this level of success is I developed extreme self awareness, meaning I did a lot of personal development work. And how did I do this? I did this by hiring coaches and getting into community. So, coaching and community. Let me tell you why self awareness is so important in order to have a successful speaking, coaching, and consulting career. Because I needed to curate my life, my services, and my business based on who I naturally am. So, let me give you an example. When I started doing a lot of personal development work, so this is like in a form of reading books, hiring coaches who specialize in personal development and self growth and self enhancement, and getting into communities where that was the conversation and that was the focus and that was the mindset. Let me tell you why this is so important to have a successful personal brand, because when I started doing personal development work and like taking personality assessments and having my coaches break them down for me and better understanding who I was naturally, that's when I learned I was an introvert. I had no idea up until that point. I'm just like, humans are weird. Why would I want to be around them? Now I understand why I think humans are weird and don't want to be around them that much. I'm an introvert. I'm like, oh, light bulb, right? This is why, I want in and I want out. This is why I'm so direct and straight to the point. This is why I don't like small talk. I started learning all of these things. Like I knew that I didn't like small talk. I knew that I had more fun alone than I did with other people. Like I knew all this stuff, but I didn't know why. I didn't have language for it. I didn't know, oh, it's because you're an introvert and you're like this. Oh, okay. So when I learned that about myself, guess what happened specifically when it comes to speaking and coaching? I was able to develop the person that you're watching and listening to right now, Angelica, i.e., my alter ego. I realized that the career, the gift that I had in speaking and articulation and teaching required me to be in front of people often. But naturally, this is what self awareness taught me. I'm an introvert. I'm like, okay, well, how can I make these two people coexist? God gave me this gift of speaking and teaching and articulation, but He also made me an introvert. Neither one must be on accident. They must have, they each individually have their own strengths. How can I marry the two together so that I'm not personally exhausted at the end of the day? I'll create an alter ego that I turn on when it's time for me to show up, and I'm going to refine her and I'm going to give her mastery, and I'm going to get so good at being in this alter ego that people will think it's really me. Even as I tell you guys, you're talking to my alter ego right now, you probably don't believe there's no way this is not really you. And she's become such a part of me now that she is me, right? But I got so good at creating her because I couldn't let God down. He gave me an assignment and He gave me a gift, but I couldn't let my preferences get in the way of my obedience. My preference is introvert. My preference is quiet, alone, in my own thoughts, solving problems in my head. That's my preference. But my gift says public, speak, shake hands, kiss babies, hug people, take pictures, right? Talk, meet friends, right? That's what my gift demands of me. So the self-awareness and the personal development work that I did helped me to marry the two together, because your preferences don't always serve you. However, you cannot utilize that principle and that understanding unless you know what your preferences are. So that's what self-awareness does. Self-awareness helps you to optimize your career as a speaker, as a coach, because you know what your preferences are. You know if you're naturally extroverted and maybe you like to just go with the flow and you like to just always be in a creative space. And you might now know, okay, I have to build up the part of me that focuses on organization and order. if you're naturally extroverted and like to go with the flow and like to be all over the place. Or you might be like me, you're naturally introverted, you're naturally organized, right? And so you got to focus on being more extroverted and going with the flow instead of everything being in order. What part of me needs to be built up because it's not who I am naturally? And what part is my natural gift that I can do with ease? That's what self-awareness helped me to understand so I can build my business in such a way. How does this work? That means when I'm hiring somebody to be on the team, I know because I've done self-awareness and personal development work, what my natural gifts are. So then I can outsource for the things that don't come natural. Does that make sense? That's how we're able to have a successful coaching company. I know that the coaches that are working in our programs, I need them to be great at the stuff that's not my preference. But I can't hire that way if I haven't done the work to know what my preferences are. Does that make sense, everybody? I'm going to pause here because that's the third one. We got 3 more to go. 3 more to go. Okay. Thank you guys, Rhonda, for who's dropping the stuff in the chat. I appreciate it so much. But is this making sense? Okay. I need to know what my gifts are, and I need to know what my career is demanding of me. And I need to know who I naturally am. And then I need to know who I need to become. That's what self-awareness does. It helps to reveal to you who you are naturally, so then you know who you need to become. Okay? All right. Thank you, Ujo. Thank you, Helena. Hey, thank you. Thank you. All right. I love it. Thank y'all for confirming. Okay. Those are the first 3. Again, this is just my autobiography in chronological order. What did I do to get from overweight, overworked, underpaid, and unknown, right, to a successful speaker, coach, consultant, who is in love with what she does and in love with who she's become, right? All right, let's get into number 4. We got the first 3 out of the way. The 4th thing I did, and again, this is in the order of operations. This is the order of operations. The 4th thing I did in order to arrive to where we are today, guys, is I worked on my faith muscle. Whew. Let's talk about faith. Let's talk about faith when you are an entrepreneur. Let's talk about faith when you're building a personal brand, which is a heavy lift on time. So entrepreneurship is already hard. Like I said, I was going to write a book entitled Whatever You're Thinking, You're Wrong. Y'all like that book title? Whatever You're Thinking, You're Wrong. Okay. The truth about building a successful brand. But being an entrepreneur is already hard. Like business is already hard. Now, you compound that difficulty when you put a personal brand on top of it. Like some people are building a business, but they're not the face of the brand. Their name is not a brand. My name is becoming a brand, right? And so you put that on top of just the difficulties of entrepreneurship alone, and it's like a monster. So you need a lot of faith to have success in business. You need even more faith to put your name, your face, and your opinion in front of the public to critique on a daily basis. Listen to me closely. If you go into this thing with a weak faith muscle, you are in for a heck of a roller coaster of a ride. So let me tell you what I did. All right. So I told you I worked on my faith muscle. I said I was going to tell you how I did it. I strengthened my relationship with God. I mastered prayer, right? I even took a 6-week prayer class with Michael Beckwith. I love Michael Beckwith. I got serious about prayer. Like, what does it mean to pray? Right. So I strengthened my relationship with God. So that's like I literally found a church home that I love, joined church, started tithing, developed a relationship with church and God. Prayer. So I mastered prayer. I studied what it means to pray, right? And then the next thing I did, and this might sound kind of odd, but the next thing I did to improve my faith muscle is I committed to being in service. So I started serving, right? So what does that mean? So like in our company, for example, we always give away a scholarship to one of our programs, right? So we always give away scholarships. I've been doing that since 2016. For people, like when people reach out to me, sometimes they ask me to speak and they're like, we don't have a budget, but we really want you, or we can afford your rate. Will you take this rate? We really want you. I lead with service in everything I do. When I show up in communities that I'm in, I've been in multiple communities over the last several years. I'm showing up in the community to learn whatever I paid to learn, but I also am in the community to serve. I know that my specialization is attractive to a lot of people because a lot of people are working on their health in some capacity. So when I get in these communities and people are like, "Can you help me with this?" Like, I'm happy to do it. I'm not like, "Oh, you got to pay me," or "Oh, you got to," like, I don't lead with money. I lead with service. Service is because what I know is that, like, kind of if we look at tithing, for example, right? So like I tithe, right? And like I give, money back to God. And the rule is, right? The principle is like that he's going to give it back to you. Press down, runneth over, right? Like shake it, like that's the rule, right? Like whatever you give, you're going to receive back multiplied, right? So I believe that to also be the case with service. So everything that I do, like we have like 6 core values in my company. One of them is service leads and money follows. So we're in service to people before we're like, well, what can you afford and how much can you pay? Like you guys have like, you'll be surprised how much I've like given away, how much I've paid for people for stuff, how much, it doesn't matter. I don't care because I'm not concerned with the money, right? I'm concerned with being in service. I'm concerned with serving God's people. I'm concerned with regifting my gift, right? All of our gifts are meant to be regifted, right? And there's no rule that says you can only regift it in exchange for money, right? So I'm in service to people, right? And so that is one of the ways that I've exercised my faith with God. It's like, I'm going to prove to you that I'm here to serve first, right? So I'm in business and I run a for-profit business. So we're going to we charge for our services, but I give away way more than I charge for. Way, way more. Like the scale is not balanced. Like this is service. Like I come on every Monday and do a keynote for people. And I don't do a keynote that's like, let me give you a little nugget and leave you wanting more so you'll pay for something at the end. No, 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 no. I show up every week to speak for free. And I plan for these talks. Like I don't just come on like what y'all up to. Like I think through, what do I want to share with the people? How can I really give them something that's going to move the needle for them today if they really take it in and listen to me, right? So service precedes everything that I do. So the people who get mad at me for charging, the people who try and rip us off and commit to paying us and then bail on their commitments, they got to take that up with God. You know what I mean? That's on them. Like I've had people say, you don't need my little money. Now you done signed a contract to be in one of our programs and you decide to bail on your commitment. I'm like, God bless you. Why would you block your own blessings doing some foolishness and some dishonest stuff like that? Right. But people do it, right? People bail on their commitments. People bail on their priorities and their integrity. Like, I'm like, okay, all we're going to do is blacklist you. We never going to work with you again. And you'll be hearing from our attorney. But that's on you. You know what I'm saying? For us. So I'm not mad when we charge because I know the things we charge for, you're going to get the value that we say above and beyond. But also we serve first. Most people end up paying us actually after I've serviced them for free. Right? After I've serviced them for free. And so, it's very important to me that I show God, right, that I'm here for the right reasons, that I understand the gift that you gave me. I understand the blessings that you've afforded me. And my mission is to give it back. So it's just like tithing, whether it's in money or it's in service, right? Service is one of the ways that I display my faith to God. So that's how I've done it. So that's the fourth thing I worked on is my faith. It is being in service. It is developing a relationship with God. It is consistent prayer, right? And the final way I exercise my faith is by taking risk, right? By doing the things that are scary, right? I remember years ago, one of my first business coaches, she took a look at the business and was like, you're doing this, you've done this, you've helped people do this. And she's like, your price is too low, way too low. And so it was so scary for me at the time to raise our prices because it wasn't like $100 or even a $200 price jump. It was like thousands of dollars, right? And so we were like 4Xing our price point and it was scary. But again, I had to exercise faith in that moment, right? I was being obedient. And so I had to be obedient swiftly. And so it's so important that we all recognize that it is nearly impossible to run a successful business that grows exponentially without faith. Because if you have made a habit in your private life of only doing things that are comfortable or only taking risks that still make you feel like you're in control, you're going to be the bottleneck in your business. Like there's risks you have to take. You got to put yourself out there. Like you need to be on stages and in front of people, that sometimes is very scary. Like you got to say yes to opportunities that you might not feel quite qualified for because imposter syndrome is doing what imposter syndrome does. Like faith is required to have success in this lane. It's just required. And some of us, I know a lot of us, especially like people of color, Black women, we have mastered the hard work part because we had to, because all the inequities in this country, we got to work hard for every single thing we have. We have to work hard for it. But then when you get to a point in life where hard work is no longer the key that unlocks the next door, it's hard AF sometimes to realize that I can't hard work myself into this room. I can't hard work myself into this next opportunity. I can't hard work myself into this favor. You mean to tell me I'm going to have to faith myself into this room? You mean to tell me I'm going to have to faith myself into this opportunity? You mean to tell me I'm going to have to faith myself into this favor? You mean I just got to have faith? I'm not used to that, Jesus. I just want to work hard. Just give me something to do. Give me it. You mean I just got to have faith? Lord, how, Sway? But I promise you, if you do not master faith, you're screwed. I'm going to say it in the most sophisticated way as possible. If you don't master having faith and not just hard work, buddy, doggone it, you're screwed. Okay. All right. That's number 4. Let's get into I had to get deep on them. You know what I'm saying, Malika? All right. Let's do the last 2. So we can get up out of here. And I'm going to give y'all a glimpse into what my week is like this week and next week, just so y'all know like the high level that you got to be able to work at and perform at. When you build a brand with integrity. Okay. So number 5, we're going through the 6 things I had to do. Here's number 5. Okay. The 5th thing that I worked on to get from there to here are my beliefs. So let's talk about beliefs. Okay. So when I say beliefs, this is speaking to things like, oh, I really want to help people in their health, but I'm not a doctor. I didn't go to nursing school. I never worked in the medical field. And so nobody's going to listen to me. I'm not qualified. Right. Beliefs is speaking to the stories that you're telling yourself about your personal ability, the stories that you're telling yourself about what is or isn't possible for you. Like, oh, I've never seen anybody have a successful business. I don't have any entrepreneurs in my family. I can't do it. It's too hard. They won't buy. Nobody has money. Nobody has time. Nobody wants to get healthy. I'm too old. I'm too this. I'm too that. Beliefs. All of the stories that you tell yourself about why something won't work for you that has clearly worked for multiple people just like you. Every single story. So how did I work on my beliefs? 1, mindfulness. So I personally meditate, right? So this is all about retraining your subconscious, right? Meditation for me is about mastering present moment awareness and retraining your subconscious. Everything you do is because it's a belief embedded into your subconscious mind. And so we have to take ownership of rewriting the script. So for me, meditation every day is about retraining my subconscious mind. And it's all about making sure I'm embedding only the beliefs that will propel me forward and not the things that will hold me back. Okay. So how did I change my beliefs? How did I start working on limiting beliefs? Number 1, mindfulness. Number 2, books. I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of listening to books. I do a lot of physical reading of books and understanding the power of the mind, understanding the power of our thoughts, understanding how to rewrite those things, understanding what I need to believe instead, reading stories of inspiration for people who have done it before me and how they did it. A lot of reading, a lot of studying, because it is very hard to have a successful business and a successful brand if you are constantly scared. and if you are constantly thinking in lack. Very hard. Fear and lack are just beliefs. All you have to do is start believing something different. And I'm not saying all you have to do as if it's a simple, flick of a light switch task. I understand this takes work. Our beliefs are sometimes so embedded in us from experiences we've had, failure and loss we've had, all type of stuff. We're dynamic humans, right? But the issue is a lot of us are just literally walking around with these beliefs and we're not actively doing anything about them. So you have to actively pursue another chain of consciousness. You have to actively pursue it until you own it. So there's nothing, like I told somebody the other day, literally with the most conviction that I've probably said anything. Well, I say everything with conviction, so that's not saying much. But I told somebody the other day, I said, everything always works out for me, right? I was like, I'm gonna get everything I want, right? Like I wasn't flinching, I wasn't smiling. I'm like, I need you to know that everything I want, I get, everything I do works out. Everything I put my mind to comes to fruition. Like the belief is on 10. What's so crazy about that is that many of you who are listening, watching right now, you have the exact same belief in the opposite direction. Nothing ever works out for me. I always fail. It's always too hard. There's never enough. You have the exact same conviction, just in the wrong direction. So you don't lack the ability to believe. You don't lack the ability to have conviction. It's just on the wrong things, right? And so the beliefs, you have to work on your beliefs. Like it's non-negotiable. Because if you show up, for example, let me give you a real-time example before we get to the sixth and final one. If you show up in your business, like as a speaker, and let's say somebody wants you to book you to speak, and let's say they ask you how much you charge. If you came into your speaking career and your persona as a speaker with a lack mindset, afraid of charging money, or afraid that you'll lose an opportunity if they can't afford it, or afraid that it's too much, or thinking you're not worth that much, you compromise the whole business. You're the bottleneck in your business because you think in lack. Now imagine if you only thought in abundance. Imagine how that conversation would go if you only thought in abundance. Imagine how that conversation and that negotiation would go if you only believe that everything worked out for you and you're the best at what you do. Not because you're just trying to spew affirmations, but because you've really done the work to train your subconscious to understand that it's true. Imagine how different your conversations will go with people and opportunities. Imagine how different your conversations will go with partners and friends. We just happen to be talking about career right now, but your beliefs are bleeding on everything you're doing. So, how did I do it? Again, mindfulness. I have a practice where I actually focus on my subconscious mind on a daily basis. Books and reading and studying human behavior, thought, the power of thinking, taking courses in it, right? And then again, attaching myself to a possibility model, attaching myself. I did the same thing with faith. Like my coach, E.T., he's probably the person I know who has the most faith among anybody I've ever met in my entire world. His belief in God and the possibility and the things that God's going to do is off the charts. So I also attach myself to these people who have the things that I'm trying to adopt, right? So that was number 5. Okay. So number 5 is beliefs. Oh, perfect thing. Your skin said I really needed to hear this today. Listen, obedience. It ain't nothing but obedience. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being here. Let's get into the last one, y'all. Let's get into the last one. Okay. Child, my tea done cooled down. Okay. Number 6. And the sixth thing, the sixth step, the sixth chapter in my autobiography of how I arrived to where I am today. The last thing that I worked on was confidence. Confidence. Somebody put confidence in the chat. Somebody put number 6, confidence. Number 6, confidence. Listen to me very closely. It ain't nothing like telling somebody You going to help them with something. You going to teach them something. You're going to help them get healthy. You're going to help them heal. You're going to help them with their finances. You're going to help them with real estate. You're going to help them whatever you do, whatever your mastery is, whatever your lane is. You're going to help them find their purpose. You're going to help them organize their life. You're going to help them organize their closets. I don't care what it is. Okay. One of the number one things that have helped me close the deal in every single sales call, negotiation, back and forth, contract signing is my confidence that I am going to be able to deliver on the things that I said I was going to do. I think the number one, now y'all tell me if this is true. Y'all watching, y'all listening, y'all be watching me and listening to me all the time. Tell me if this is true. Is one of the things that has attracted you to me, is it my conviction? Is it how much I believe in what I say? Is it how much I show up with so much? Like when I'm coaching somebody, is I don't just be like, well, here's what you can do if you just so happen to want, maybe it could work. I don't know. Maybe if we tried it and maybe really hopefully it could go that way. But or do I be like, listen, this is what you need to do, and this is why it's gonna work. And we're not talking like that no more. And all I need you to do is this, and then stop the moderation. Like I don't talk in moderation. I don't talk like, well, we can keep a little of the bad and a little of the good, and maybe hopefully we can mix those together and put them in the oven and it comes out your goals. I'd be like, no, this is we not gonna eat the sugar. We gonna drink the water. We gonna meditate. We're gonna do this. What's your assignment? Okay, here's what I need you to do. I need you to go back, tell them people you're gonna do it. Show up. What type of conviction do I coach y'all with? What type of confidence do I coach y'all with? I don't fluff around. I don't walk on eggshells about what I believe and what I know. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff I don't know. Let's be very clear. Like a whole bunch of stuff I don't know. Like a boatload. You can't feel the world with the stuff I don't know. But the stuff I do know, I believe in it so much. I'm so confident and convicted in what I say and what I teach and what I speak. Like I don't even open my mouth if I'm not convicted about what I'm about to say. Like I ain't got time to be playing with y'all. I ain't got time to be playing with y'all lives and y'all futures and y'all goals and y'all assignments. I'm not even going to do that to you. That is why we interview people to be in our programs. Why? Because I need to make sure that I can confidently help you with what you say you're trying to do. Your confidence. If you don't have confidence, you are not cut out for this. Period. Let me tell you how I got confidence before we wrap up. It's two main things that I did. Okay. Three main things I did to build my confidence. Okay. The first one is mastery. The very first thing I did was develop mastery in the subject matter. And this is why when I'm teaching business, I tell you guys, you cannot just be a generalist. Stop trying to help everybody with everything. I could just help anybody who want to get healthy and that's all that matters. No, you cannot. You need to specialize. Why? Because when you specialize, i.e. when you niche down, you then are able to build mastery and a more narrow focus, and it helps you to show up with more confidence. But if you're like, I just want to be a generic plant-based coach and I just want to help anybody who wants to go plant-based, it doesn't matter what's for, you're going to have one person in your class with cancer. You're going to have one person in your class with diabetes. You'll have another person in your class with depression. You're going to have another person who just want to save the animals. And you're trying to speak to all that and deal with all of their individual beliefs and deal with all of their individual emotions and experience around each one of their circumstances. And yes, you know plant-based nutrition, but you can't speak to the human because you don't have their direct experience because you decided you was going to be a generalist and just help anybody who wanted anything. That's why you ain't confident. You don't have mastery over anything. You just know a little bit about a lot. So one of the ways I developed confidence is I developed mastery. Like I know what I know and I know it at a high level. Like if you want a successful coaching business, I got you. If you want to be a speaker, I got you. If you want to understand how to use plant-based nutrition to lose weight, I got you. Like you gotta have mastery over something. Mastery 10x is your confidence. Mastery, because ain't nobody tell you nothing about it. And I know every single one of y'all on here knows something about something and you know it more than the average person knows it and can't nobody tell you nothing about it. Think about it. So I'd be baffled when people like, I could just help anybody find a purpose. I'm like, anybody? That's wild. right? Like all this generalist stuff, right? Okay, so the first thing I did was mastery. The second thing I did to develop a ton of confidence is repetition. Repetition. Now, this is where it gets tough and challenging because a lot of people have a very hard time doing the same thing over and over again over a long period of time. Why? Because we like things to be exciting, we like things to be new, we like things to feel fresh. But the way you develop confidence in something is with reps. So, like when I'm telling my coaches, I need you to get online and create content regularly, consistently, right? I don't care if nobody's watching. I don't care if nobody's commenting. I don't care if nobody's sharing. I don't care if nobody liking. Get your reps in, right? Everything I need you to do, like you need to get your reps in. That is how. So, how did I become such a confident speaker? I did a class every first Saturday of the month for 5 consecutive years. From 2017 to 2023, I taught Get Planted, an introduction to a whole food plant-based lifestyle, every first Saturday of the month. In 5 years, ask me how many Saturdays I missed. I'll tell you, one. And that's because I had to go to a speaker's event where I, by the way, took home first prize in a speaking competition. That was the Saturday I needed to miss first Saturdays. That was the only one in 5 years. You don't have enough reps in. And so because you're not practicing, you're just in a corner worried about you not being good enough, but you're not doing anything to try and become good enough. Your confidence is low. It makes sense, right? So how did I build my confidence? Mastery, which means I study my subject matter, and it's easy for me to study my subject matter because I'm specialized. So I niche down into one thing. So it's easier for me to study. It's easier for me to do continuing education. It's easier for me to go to events and know what I need to learn because I'm focused in my lane, right? So mastery over my subject matter, and then reps. I got my confidence up by doing a ton of reps. Even to this day, how long, what y'all know gonna happen every Monday at 10 a.m. EST? I gotta stop what I'm doing because Lisa about to wax deep on something. How long have I been doing this? I've been going live every Monday for years. Even before YouTube, I was live every week on Facebook and Instagram. And then last February, just over a year ago, I started on YouTube as well. So just because I've only been on YouTube a year, I've been on Facebook and Instagram going live forever. Reps. It's just reps. That's how I got my confidence in reps. So your inconsistency is keeping you with low confidence. Somebody had to tell you. It might as well have been me. Okay. So here's my takeaway for you guys. Listen, you got to stop making showing up and getting it done the goal. Because the very final thing that I did to improve my confidence is I embodied with everything in me a spirit of excellence. I embodied a spirit of excellence. So what that means is just showing up and turning my camera and my mic on Monday mornings, it's not good enough for me. For the average person, they're like, yeah, I do it every week. Or yeah, I show up, I do a podcast episode every week. I live on my channel every week. That's good for the average person. It's not good for me. I show up prepared with a keynote every week. How you gonna beat me? How you gonna come for me with that level of preparation? I'm with y'all for an hour, but I've been preparing for 7 days. Come on now. Come on now. I don't just showing up is not good enough for me. I need to show up with excellence, everything that I do. Excellence doesn't mean perfect. It doesn't mean I don't make mistakes. It means that when I walk away from this, when I turn this camera off in a few moments, I'm going to be able to confidently say, I did my best. Can you confidently say you did your best after every workout? Can you confidently say you did your best at every meal? Can you confidently say you did your best at every engagement? Can you confidently say you did your best every time you sat down with a client? Y'all, the people who are average, who have low, are the people who have made just showing up the goal. Just showing up to me is failure. If the only credit I'm giving myself is I was here, psh, please. That's not good enough for me. So for me, excellence is the goal every single time. And excellence doesn't mean perfection. It means I can confidently say I did my best And if I cannot confidently say that, then we need to go make an adjustment. So I embody the spirit of excellence. So that's the 6 things that got me to where I am today. Let's review really quickly, boys and girls. Weight loss, healed emotionally, self-awareness and personal development, faith, beliefs, and confidence. That is the order of operations. That is the trajectory that I took to get to where I am today, from overweight, overworked, underpaid, and unknown to well-known and successful speaking, coaching, and speaking career, who just signed a multi-year deal with the number one personal development company, the number one motivational speaker. I was attractive to them. Obedience is attractive. Mastery is attractive. Confidence is attractive. Body confidence, attract. Y'all should see me when I step on base stage. When ET and them say, Lise, we need you to come up on stage and share this, I'll be confident. I'll be leaned in, legs crossed, pumps on. What y'all need to know. I'm not intimidated by being in a room with the number one motivational speaker and his audience, because I came with my own bucket of confidence, faith, healthy beliefs, and a bomb body. What? Put me on any stage and I'm going to hold my own. Matter of fact, one of the most common things I hear on stage is, I got to go after her and do. Right? So that is my takeaway from y'all today. Listen. Here's what we're doing. I got to hop off of here. I got a meeting to get to. But here's what I need you to do. Helena said, can you repeat the first 3? I sure can, Helena. Weight loss, healed emotionally, self-awareness and personal development, faith, beliefs, and confidence. That was my order of operations from getting to where I was 12 years ago, 10, 12 years ago, to where I am today as a speaker, coach, and consultant. Here's what I need you guys to do. Our next challenge, we're pivoting a little bit. From now going forward, I'm going to work with you guys who desire to be speakers, coaches, and consultants. So our next plant-based 30-day challenge is going to be specifically geared to you guys. So if you're not already, I need you to register for the Plant Protocol 30-day vegan challenge. It's going down in July, but our prep masterclass is starting next week in April. And so I need you guys to get registered. You can register for free. We have VIP tickets, which I highly recommend you move up to the front row. But this challenge, I'm specifically going to help aspiring or current speakers, coaches, and consultants to do those first 3 things that I said: weight loss, healing emotionally, and self-awareness through our 30-day challenge. Okay. I'm going to start targeting you guys, because so many of you guys be in my audience anyway, saying, I want to get on stage. I got a story to tell, but I don't feel good about this. I got to lose more weight. I'm still broken from this. And so I'm going to curate the entire challenge for you guys. Okay. So July 1 is when the challenge starts, the Plant Protocol 30-day vegan challenge. However, prep starts next month in April. So you need to get on the list now so you don't miss a prep class with me. There's our private master classes where I'll be helping you guys in preparation for our challenge come July 1st. So YouTube, the link is right there in the pinned in the chat. And on Instagram, you can click the link in my bio for the challenge, or just comment the word challenge in my DMs and we'll send you the link. Okay. So that's right. That's all. And that's it, y'all. I got to get to this next meeting. I had a little more I want to share with you guys, but I got to run. So I hope this was helpful. I don't even have time for takeaways today, but meet me back here next Monday for another Monday morning keynote. We'll go deeper on this conversation about what it really takes to have a successful business and a great personal brand. And until next time, y'all, I will see you then. Bye, y'all.